Ladies and gentlemen, Two Dudes Talk Music in conjunction with E. Brown Industries and Big Jerry Burger brings to you everybody's new favourite game show, Get in the Bin. Now, let's go to our host, Reverend Raph and the beer buddy, Kyle. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. It is time for our favourite segment of the week. It is time for Get in the Bin, where we talk to our esteemed guests and we say that if they had phenomenal cosmic power and could snap their fingers and eliminate things out of the music business, what would they be and why? We'll grab two from each of you gentlemen. Whoever wants to go first, what is the first thing you would eliminate from the music industry and why?
Okay, right. One, bad promoters. I get rid of bad promoters. I'm not naming any names because there's great promoters. There's so many great promoters, and we've worked with loads of great ones. But there are also promoters that they do their job by they book you, and then they're like, "Oh, you haven't promoted the show." And I'm like, "Well, you've not promoted the show either." They don't promote the show. They don't post the show. They don't put posters up. They don't advertise. And they expect the band to do all of the work. And it's like, well, what's your job title? You are a promoter, and they have done zero promotion. And then they can be pissy when nobody turns up to the show and expect it to be another job for the band to do. And that just isn't true. The band obviously has a responsibility to, turn up and to say that they're playing, but it's a promoter's job to promote a show.
Very fair. That's a good one.
100% agree.
Henry? I reckon it's not something specifically for the music industry. It affects a lot of things wider than that. But Brexit, I'd reverse that. I've heard so many people struggling, like particularly from this country, to try and get out there. Like touring Europe would be much cheaper than touring America, right?
Yeah, but that was mentioned in the podcast as well. That was mentioned earlier. Yeah. That was like a kind of a big thing that's made it a bit harder for you guys in that regard.
It's also getting people over that I want to see. Like, there's so many artists that I see, like like EU tour, and I'm like, oh, amazing, and I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't include us anymore. And it's this thing of like they've got to meet. You have to meet different requirements to go and play in these countries. Like to play in the UK, you've got to meet different requirements to go play in the EU, and even stuff like moving between EU countries once you're in Europe. Like if you're a band and you've got merch in the back of the van, they immediately assume that you're there on work. So if they've got every right that they can just seize it, they can just take the whole.
Yeah. If it's not apparent, fuck the Tories. Fuck the Tories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thing number two. As much as it is also a great thing, I think I'd have to get rid of. I think I'd put TikTok in the bin, and I'd want to go back to a time that I wasn't even around for, where it was all just based on physical sale, and you put your album out, and then you buy a record, and then you love that record, and you have just that record. To be honest, that's kind of two things. That's a love hate with Spotify.
It all works into the same thing.
But this is what I mean. Kyle talks about this a lot on the podcast, right? Like what you used to buy, you'd buy an album, and that was the album. Like for the next couple of months, that was a new album that you had. So you'd spent your money on it, and there was a reason to. You'd be like, well, I've bought it, so I'll make sure I give it a few listens at least to really see, and if you listen to it and you didn't like it, you might come back to it in a couple of weeks and go, right, did I really I'll give it another try. And so you were incentivized to actually listen to it and put the time in to try and understand it, versus now where it's like, yeah, you don't like a song within the first 15 seconds, bam, you're on to the next thing. And it's so difficult to write deep, meaningful music that is also attention grabbing from the first instant, as a consistent thing, it's such a challenge there.
It's almost gone to the stage where you need to write your songs ass backwards now. You need to put your hook and your breakdown and your stuff at the very beginning, and then sort of leave everything for the end.
That's what people do. I've seen people going like, if you're a musician on TikTok, write 20 choruses and use those choruses in your videos, and then whatever does well, write the rest of the song. What the fuck are we even doing?
I know.
Like, Yeah. No, that's 100% behind that one. 100% back that one.
That's a Mr. Squiggle shit right there. You draw a line and then make something out of it.
See it heading that way for years, like the Motown Hit Factory and stuff. Though, like that was all the same thing, right? It was just hook after hook after hook.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's the consuming of it now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
As opposed to, because like even then they are writing hit after hit after hit, but you still buy a record and like you might buy, I don't know how many records people might usually buy, but it's still one thing, and you can't just flick through everything all at once, all at the same time. And be like, don't like that one, don't like that one. you have to absorb it, and you have to actually spend some time listening to the music. And like what you're saying, choruses like ABBA. Every bit of ABBA is a chorus. Every part of their song, every verse is a chorus. Every bridge is a chorus. You know, and so it is important to write these catchy bits, and the best songwriters. I don't love ABBA, but I respect that the music is incredibly well written. I understand why people love it, you know, and it's just these choruses constantly. So, but it's almost like it's not like a choice to do that now. It's like you have to do that if you want people to listen, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And Henry, what's your second one? Take us home.
Second one, I'd introduce some kind of universal law that if you are booking a show and you tell the people playing that there's no money but it's great exposure, that you get put in the bin straight away thereafter.
Yes, 100%. Oh yeah, okay, cool. I'll just call my landlord and tell him that I'm going to be paying in exposure this month.
Yeah,
Anything
exactly.
that's going to be exposed is my foot coming out of your mouth when it goes straight through your asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's great if someone's doing the show because that's what they want, then fine. If they're expecting that, but just I mean, we get it less now, but the amount of times that has come up, it's I feel as though that must be one that comes up fairly often.
It does. And I'm sorry, the only way that ever flies with any independent band is if you're going to give them an international sold out spot. If you turn around to any band that's up and coming and you turn around and go, this is great exposure, it's at like fucking Wembley sold out show and you're opening, I'm doing it for free.
That's exposure. That's exposure.
Yes, not exposure to like 50 people at the local pub. That's not exposure.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
Everyone who'd be drinking in the pub already isn't.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. That's been Get in the Bin. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, download the shit out of it. Let us know what you would put in the bin down in the comments, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Nice.